Guys, I'm on load shedding. I'm literally in my blankets. It is so cold. I cancelled the guest that we had today. Hi, Eugene. Please don't smile because I actually cancelled the guest that we had today because I am tired. I am very tired. Today we were supposed to be speaking to Keith. Keith is a registered nurse who is an auditor. He works at a life hospital as an auditor. I was supposed to be speaking to him today, but I am so tired. It is so cold. I'm in my blankets in my bedroom and in network here. So I cancelled him because I didn't have the energy. Unfortunately, today we are not going to talk to anyone. I want us, guys. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Guys, so many nurses are leaving the country. Guys, people are going to Saudi. Guys, so many nurses are leaving the country. Nini tule. Hey, I'm so weak. Let me log in. Hi, Sister Pume. Guys, it's the one thing that made me to hit the live button tonight. Guys, people are going to Saudi. What are we saying? What are we saying as a country about this? As fellow nurses. Hi, Zandi. Hi, Bok. In network, and I truly want us to have this conversation. Guys, but crisis. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this crisis, because to me it is a crisis, and for someone that truly loves the profession. Guys, I don't want to lie to you. I've had two of my friends already. One passed the interview and now she's on the process of doing e-visa and everything. She received an offer. The other one was telling me yesterday, I've decided to pack up and leave. Just got accepted at UJ. Oh, thank you, Mama. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nsova, for making my night. Guys, but let's talk about this crisis, Betunan. Are nurses around you in your workplace also leaving? Yo. Hi, Shem. And what are the effects going to be? That's my question to nursing in the country. I don't want to lie. Guys. And particularly the nurses that I've spoken with, who are in my circle that are leaving, I love that they are leaving with a plan. Some of them want to come back in the country and not practice completely, like they're going to go into different business ventures. But guys, people are leaving. I'm concerned. Your Sister Pume says nurses are not respected and valued in our country. Bangamela to slave in other countries. Yo. And I truly wonder how it's like, I wonder when Sister Pume go to how are the work environment that side. I've always been saying that we need to speak to a nurse who's that side, guys. Hi, you. Yeah, but I'm worried. I'm personally worried. You know what? I don't know. Maybe you guys must tell me if I'm naive, right? You guys need to say, no, Z, you are actually very naive. I don't know, but I have so much hope for our future as nurses in this country, particularly because of the type of nurses we are. The current generation that is in practice of nurses, I'm not talking about the retired ones, but the current generation that is in practice currently and the one that is coming, I have a feeling that we are the generation that's going to change the game. That's my take. I don't know. Maybe you guys must tell me, say, Nurse Z, you are very naive. It is a disaster, and given the state of our health system currently, we are in for a high jump. Yo, Ponto. Yo! Shame! The issue is that people in leadership are blind. True. True. Being naive. Tell me if I'm being naive. I think I invited Sister Pume. As I'm abusing Sister Pume, guys. I sent you an invite, ne?
Yes, you did.
No. I'm the abuser.
Hi guys, it's been a while, fam.
It's
Geez,
been a
near
while.
5 but it's one of those things.
Yeah.
No,
Sister.
man, see, it's true. But then if you look at the state of my environment that we are working under, I'm not gonna separate myself because
Mm,
we are one. We one
yeah.
fam. We also got challenges in private and both in government. But Sinjay,
Mm,
it's the state of our hospitals, man. Resources, asiyeke our salaries and stuff. You know
mm,
how kukhathaza kanjani to get to work, and besides working, you need to run around nje looking for izinto zokusebenza, guys. You know the
mm,
basics. You are there to work, you're there to save lives, you're there to connect with patients and get people, see people living and getting better. And every time, every day, kune stumbling block. It's either kungambhede, akuna medication, doctors are scarce, late,
mm,
people ama-prognosis. Nje abanakekile. It's tiring. I
mm,
have a friend who works in Saudi. She does tell me, ukuthi yazi intro, I'm not
mm.
gonna lie. I read a slave, kuyasetshenzwa laphaya. There is,
What do you
this
mean?
thing
What
of
do you mean by the word slave? Have they described to you Guti, like mabe
okay,
or what do they mean by that?
okay. For what I know from her in confidence,
Mm,
South African nurses are highly regarded that side.
okay.
Lalela, I like that's what I'm trying to say.
Mm,
Ni wo cream of the crop. If you're coming from SA, you go to Saudi, you are already automatically known to be one of the best healthcare practitioners on earth.
mm,
So when we say they slave, obviously phela in other countries ungeke ufike ube ushaye nene and
mm.
be an OM and be a matron and
True.
be a whatever. Bakhona
Mm,
bonesi nabodokotela who they abakhona. And
mm,
from what I've learned from the couple of few is that they are not as experienced, as advanced with our integrated training as they
mm.
are. So you'll end up doing their work indirect. Angithi uyabona ujunior nurse ugcina OM because there's no OM in the
Really?
ward, or there's
Mm,
no in charge.
Jacob.
Le yenzeka la. But
Yeah,
then noma yenzeka, ichankura man makes you smile. When you have
true. It's a
friends that have paid.
motivation.
Yes. As much as you're doing it, we are born to die, man. Because she works in theater, right? So she'll end up
Mm,
running 3 theaters and allocating staff and whatever. Then she says they are graded. And then she'll go back and complain to Aibo guys, I'm not getting paid for this. You understand?
mm,
But
mm.
because Ichankura at the end of the day, she's paid off her bond. Yeah, 1.5 million in South Africa in 3 years.
Mm, 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 mm,
So
mm.
young understand that good where the motivation comes from to leave. To say I rather go slave lapaya because imali yakho it's not taxed, phela dude. Remember
Eish,
that as well.
ndiva
So when you
besitsho.
get, if your salary is that money is that money. You understand?
Mm,
Aiki
mm.
tax, that's one thing. So Tina, half your salary goes with tax. Uthi noma
True.
uyibone ikujabulisa, by the time it gets into your bank on the 15th, half of it is gone.
Sure.
So this is why isimo sokuphila in South Africa has gone very tough. So if
True.
people babuya abangani bethu bethi umbona, because I'm here, her house is about what, 10 minutes away from me. I look after the kids. I go check the kids ukuthi zisharp. And she's like, no, Chom, I'm done with the bond. Now I need to buy a car. And I want to save to buy a car because when I come back, I want to buy the car cash. I
Yeah.
don't want debt.
Mm,
Angifuna isikoloto. So
mm,
I've built my mom's house. She has built her mother a house. What diliza indlu wayishaya phansi. Built her mom a house, completed. And then
mm,
after that manje, she now bought her own house, paid it off. Now she wants to put her kids they go to private schools. You understand? So
I have a question, Sister Pume, and I invited Eugene as well. Hello, Eugene. How are you?
Good evening, guys. I'm good in yourself.
We are well. I have a question for you guys, right? And the question is, do you guys think that as the current generation of nurses, us, do you guys think we stand a high chance of occupying positions of power and be able to bring change into our profession? Do you guys think we have what it takes? Do you guys see it as a possibility? And I don't know if there's anyone else who would
for
like to
me,
join the conversation. Please request, guys. I selected Sister Pume and Eugene because they are always participating. But if you can participate in this conversation, if you have something to say in this conversation, for those who just joined us, we're speaking about why nurses are leaving the country. And actually, guys, my friend whom I started this live about, saying my friend is leaving in 3 months, she's literally here. Table Precious. She says, few months, I'm just busy with visa now. They are waiting for me in Saudi. She did her interview, she got an offer. So my question is, how will the leaving of nurses like my friend Deboho affect nursing as a profession? How will it affect our progression and what we are trying to do as the current generation of nurses? We're trying to make ourselves to be recognized by our government, as much as it is difficult, but I think we are different from the older generation of nurses. And the question I have, I want you guys to tell me am I being naive to actually think that we are the generation that's going to bring change into our profession? And every time a friend says I'm leaving, because Teboho is the first one, and then another one I had a conversation with yesterday, and he said to me, Zanel, actually, I'm just leaving. And this is someone that is so strong in politics. And he was like, I'm packing my bags, I'm tired of this economy, I'm leaving. And I'm thinking, what effect is this going to have on what we are trying to achieve as a collective, as the current generation of nurses? And the question I have now, following on everything that Sister Pume said, is, am I being naive for thinking that we are capable of bringing change? Eugene, what do you think?
Okay, let me start with the brain drain that's happening currently. It is difficult. Okay, the money that you're getting, it's good, but not that good, because I look at myself. I don't have a child. Khona abantu that are breadwinners at home. They must provide for their siblings. They must buy cars. They must buy. It's a lot. It's a lot, and you are expected to progress at the same time. Expected to study. So I know of a sister that stays in my area. Okay, she did not build anything. She's still staying in her four-roomed house. But what she did, I think she sent all her children to private schools. They are all qualified. Her last one studying to be a doctor right now. So I think her objective of going to Saudi Arabia was to ensure that her children get well educated.
Sure.
I have an aunt that's in the UK. She will always tell me she will never come back here.
Yo.
Because of the money that we earn this side, it's too little for her. She will not cope with it. And she
that's the
does
truth.
say they work very, she says it's very difficult that side, because you find people from different countries, and you will find that some people are against South Africans and others are against Nigerians in the same workplace. So it's that conflict within the workplace, and they are very demanding, and you do not have much of rights. It's like how we treat foreigners decide. They get treated that way, that side.
Sure.
Don't forget, Eugene, about our language barriers. Because sometimes what is doctors, they will just speak Arab. You must find your own way
You must
Guys,
learn the
while
Arab.
giving you orders. You must
When you are
learn.
naive? Am I naive for thinking that we are capable of changing the status quo in nursing in South Africa? Am I naive for thinking that way?
Can I
I
be
would not say you
truthful
like,
to you
but
about that? You,
Sister Pume?
you're not naive, Azi. Sorry, Eugene. I'm gonna go just now. You're not naive, but the situation where we are at with our current leaders, things are getting worse than they should be getting better for Black people, for Black communities, for our basics, which is our security, our health, our education. If they could really put that on a pedestal, it will give us people who are willing to fight, who are willing to stay. I've been a nurse since 2004. I could have gone to Saudi and back. Other friends of mine have gone twice, or the other one has gone a third time. But the issue is we want to stay home. They also say if we come home to a better state of health, we are willing to come back with the other expertise that they've gotten from that side. Because as much as people think going overseas, "Hayi, lapha kumnandi, uyasebenza," it's no. They work very hard under very, very sometimes racist platforms and environments. But njengisho ukuthi at the end of the day, even if we go through such things, bese kuba khona leya motivation factor encane ethi chankura, fine, ekhaya ngizothi va lana vele, these are not my blood, I don't give, a ting ngabo, but ngizosebenza. You go there to, it's like you go there to secure a bag. Yabo le bag isifuna ukuyisecure la ekhaya si-secure wrongly. Lapha you take your education to go secure a bag the proper way, the safe way, the right way, and you come back home and you got your things. But if you're gonna, I'm not against any other. I always say, ipoyisa, aliphatha amaphoyisa. If you've been a cop at ground level, if I'm an MSc of health and then gives a complaint about a shortage of egos, I know what a shortage of egos does in a surgical ward. But nina nizothatha uthisha ono-74 years niyomenza u-MEC and Minister of Health njani? Wazini nge-shortage of i-drug? Wazini nge-shortage of the issue that we're currently having, i-shortage of ama-bassinets. This is why they can easily just blame nurses at the ground because abanandaba, they don't know. But if you take somebody that has worked from the bottom,
True.
and they end up being the person that are in charge, it's easy for them even just to fight because asifuna ama-miracles. Babhizi manje baphasisa i-NHI. To what, mtaka baba, i-Prince Msheni ngenamanzi? To what, mtaka baba? What is NHI kanti bathong? Because you're saying if I ne-Mediclinic yase-Joburg, i-government hospital, kuphi no? When nurses are carrying 25 liters. But otherwise, let me leave Eugene to also speak. Guys, I've sent a link. Can I pass this message quickly?
Yes.
I've sent a link on the comment section. It's www.whips.co.za. Guys, this is a plug for extra jobs, ne? Those that can do independent mobile nurses where this company recruits nurses for insurances. So you can do it at your own time. You register, you go through interviews, they tell you what they require, and then they will do training. So if you want to plug, make money on the side. Those also that are not currently
Are you
working, they
leaving?
can actually.
Wait. Are you leaving? You sound like you have something to do. You're gonna log off.
No, I'm not gonna log off, but you know me, I can talk for days, ne? So, but I want to give other people a platform to also share on the topic.
No,
It's
people
not
will
only
come
our
in. Don't log
convo.
off. People will come in if they want to come in. Because you just tapped on something that I wanted us, after we speak about this, we actually speak about how are we gonna try and navigate. It's funny how you brought this, because I was gonna ask to say those who don't. Okay, there are people who actually don't want to leave the country, Sister Pume, and what must they do? And you actually went ahead, because you're saying people must go into that link, and someone asked if you can retype it. Eugene, what's your take? Do you think that as young nurses we stand a chance of going to these positions that Sister Pume is speaking about? Because Sister Pume is saying the government needs to appoint people who have been on the ground, so that when they are leading the pack, they must be leading from experience. We shouldn't be led by a police officer who doesn't even know any single drug's name. We should be led by people who are in the sector. And somehow, I don't know, but I think as the current generation of nurses, we are able, or we will be able. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I believe that we've got what it takes in us. One thing I see about the current generation of nurses, And that is whatever lowest age up to like your 55 or 50. What I see about us is that we penetrate. Guys, we need to give it to ourselves that the generation that is ahead of us had or has never penetrated as fast as we do. We honestly need to give it to ourselves that we are doing amazing things more than the generation that is ahead of us. I'm not saying they didn't do anything, but I'm saying I feel like we're penetrating spaces that might have taken them longer than it's taking us. And me have observed that, it makes me believe that even the spaces that Sister Pome is speaking about, spaces that are occupied by incorrect leaders, it makes me to believe that we will be able to eventually penetrate those spaces as well. I don't know, but I believe that there's a point in this country where we're going to have MECs of the provinces of health being nurses. I believe in that. I believe that we're going to walk in so many hospitals and find CEOs being nurses. I believe that we will find nurses in parliament. I don't know, but that's literally the vision that I see about our nursing profession. And now every time someone says, I'm leaving the country, I'm thinking, it could be the MEC, this person who's packing up their bag and they're leaving. It could be the next MEC in the next coming 10 years. Am I being naive, Eugene? Am I the only one who thinks we are capable?
I think firstly we need to give credit where it's due. In KZN, the CEOs of the hospitals, it's either a doctor or a nurse. They do not take someone that does not have a medical background.
Wow.
So we need to give credit where it's due. And then we need to look at the fact that I think they need to look into the operational managers or the unit managers in the public sector. They require 7 years. For what reason? They want 7 years experience, whereas in the private sector, if you have 5 years experience, you can qualify to be a unit manager or an operational manager.
Sure.
Another thing is that us as business also, we need to align ourselves with political parties because yes, they are political employees. You will only get deployed as a political employee if you are a member of the party. You
What
need
is
to look,
what
we
is
need
a
to be,
political deployee, Eugene?
for example, for an MEC, there's a political employee.
Okay.
Though and they will tell you they will deploy someone that has a teaching background to be MEC of health because there is a head of department that has a medical background. So sorry, I tend to start a lot. The head of the department will guide MEC
Sure.
when it comes to health matters.
And this
That's why they would.
MEC comes from teaching. I hear what you're saying. So you are saying we should also align ourselves with political parties.
That's the only way you're going to change it because we tend to be scared to be aligned to political parties, but we tend to complain the most. Why don't we align ourselves with these political parties so we are in a position to say no, but you can't do this to nurses. But you in the ground level complaining and bullying, that's how nurses are. You can complain in the corridors, but if they call you to the front and say speak, you'll say I have nothing to say. That's how we are. I have a professional nurse in the world I'm working. He has 17 years experience as a nurse. When I ask him why don't you study or do something, he has a mentality that the government must advertise a post and he must apply for the post. That's only when he can go study. But he will not take his own money to progress his own future.
Sure.
We are used to be spoon fed because you were spoon fed with the 4-year course. Now you want to be spoon fed with the speciality. You want to be spoon fed with the management course. Unfortunately, you will wait very long for that to happen.
Sure. I truly
Sometimes
Eugene, I
sometimes you need
love what you said. I love what you said. Today I met up with a friend of mine who's a medical doctor and he trained in Cuba. He's very vocal and he's into politics, right? And then he says to me, "You're an HIV activist. Are you into politics?" I say to him, "No, I'm not into politics. I'm too emotional to be in politics." And now I feel like you just called me out as well. I feel like you just called me out. As nurses, we shy away from politics, Eugene. I think particularly because politics in this country are known to be like a very dirty ground. But I've seen the likes of Dr. Norma French Mbambo in the Western Cape, who is the MEC, who is a registered nurse. She is politically aligned with the party. However, in her position as an MEC, when you look at her page, you see her executing her duties as a healthcare worker. So you've given us a very important, very challenging though, task of aligning ourselves with political parties, particularly if we do really want to make an impact and bring change into the nursing profession.
Yeah, it's very true, Z. Sorry, I got cut off a bit. Because, guys, if you look at our status quo of living in South Africa, you will never move to any platform without being in politics. That's why I said, if our current leaders or any other leadership that will come on will be open to prioritize in putting health, education, and safety in a platform over and above everything else, then it will then be easier for someone to allow people who are vocal, who are passionate, who are pro patients, or who will then be there to implement izinto correctly, because we will not be requiring, like Eugene is saying, why are you requiring amayeza ngakaya for you to get, because you know the vision, you've been there, you've seen it, you know what needs to be implemented. But you can talk like I know in Durban there is an EN. Obviously everybody knows him now. Ustumo Dlamini, Uga is now in politics. He is an EN. He's not even a PN. But because he was vocal in the unions and the unions that were affiliated with the parties, look at where he is. With just being EN, nothing else, no speciality, nowhere. But look at his positions. But in everybody, when they move top, sometimes they lose track because of other things. So also that's another challenge. You get there, you will always find obstacles. You're going to find doors closing on you. But are we a generation also that it's not easily going to be shut down? Because remember, shut down also goes with your safety. If they feel you're going to be coming to disturb their peace and coming to disturb their pie. So those are the things that we're not going to be, you cannot just say, we cannot just say, yes, you're, apparently if we get a leader whom we will put in place, who will see the need to put young people in positions for the country to change. Unawa masosha, the problem is the realization. Because Tina, on our own, see, we will lose you in translation because you're going to be messing up with PPEs, pies, zabant.
Yeah.
And then we find you missing. And there's a doctor that, if I remember, I don't remember her name, but people know she's a gynae. She ended up going to work overseas because she was in courts and fighting with politicians, that her life was in danger, and she left. She's female. I always forget her surname, but she was very vocal on Twitter and everybody else. She packed the whole family and left.
She ran away
She
for
didn't
her
even say.
safety.
She said, I give up, I cannot, because they were threatening to kill her, because of your mouth. She's not even fighting for isn't ezi wrong, or she's fighting for isn't ezi right. But because lezo zinto zakhe ezi-right zizophuca somebody else. Ongahlangene nale nto oyifunayo wena, you're fighting for patients' rights, you're fighting for good health, you're fighting for iy'bhedlela ey'mile, iy'bhedlela ey'sile. When you got securities zasemshiyeni ishaya ama-patient, where are you? Guys, that is why gay people leave. This is why some of us left the private and the public sector and went and started our private practice. But still, Nakona, you have challenges. You understand? So until kushintsha sekhona la kufanele kushintshe khona, we are there. Ngihlala ngisho ukuthi we are pit bulls waiting to be released.
No, we
And the
are.
generations behind us also, they are there. You understand? So people, we just need good leadership, guys. Good leadership will open doors and it can change. So you're not naive. But until then, sifale sidle zi, sifale siphile. Fanele si-survive, fanele sifunde. Even ukufunda kunzima, yonke into inzima. Hayi guys, no. Then you go to other countries, I rather work 8 to 8. But I know ukuthi my bank balance is gonna make a difference at home. You understand? I'd rather be spoken in Arab and sonnet nami ngizogcina ngiyifundile ngiphendula. Because at the end of the day, the working conditions are good. You understand? The pay is good. It's normally the treatment and the workload, because when they also deal with very, very big cases which are different than what we do from what I know. You understand? So that's basically it, guys. But I feel Vela, we cannot all go there. So somewhere we are, wherever we are, we need to make a difference. Maybe ngelinye ilanga there is a door, or there will be somebody who will stand and say, yeah, now these are the people we need. You
Okay,
understand? And I'm hopeful because it's going to happen that way. So okay, before I shy away again, just to explain the whips is to people
actually,
is it's for you.
before you explain, because I want you to tap into something just before you can leave. I don't know, maybe you have other commitments, but let me quickly brief Noko, because I want to hear his comment. Noko, I came on here today because I'm seeing a lot of nurses leaving the country for Saudi. It has become very easy for nurses to leave the country now. It is literally very easy. In my circle, I already have like 2 people. One is busy with visa. They got an offer. The other one is in prep of leaving. And the latter one is a very vocal person in politics. He's in Denosa. He's an asset in the nursing fraternity, let me put it like that. And so when these people were telling me when I'm Khotsi that they are leaving the country, I started to have a mini panic attack, because I'm pro nursing, and I'm pro young nurses, and I believe that as young nurses, I have this strong belief that as young nurses, we are the ones, like the current generation of nurses, we're the ones who are going to change the status quo of the country for nurses. So every time a nurse says I'm leaving the country, it's actually 3. Every time a nurse says I'm leaving the country, no go, I panic to say, the person who's leaving now, isn't it a future MEC, Isn't this someone who might have the key to our freedom as nurses in the country? That's the question I always ask myself every time I hear someone saying they are leaving. So I came on here to say, guys, am I naive for believing that we are the generation that is actually going to bring change in the profession? So I wanted to hear other people's views, and people are saying people are leaving because people want to be able to afford proper life for themselves, for their families. And now my second question, right? And I need you to go and answer my first question to say, am I naive? Do you think I'm naive? We will never be able to bring the change that I think we are capable of bringing. But my second question, which now I want to give it to all of you guys. My second question is, for us who still believe that we've got what it takes, for us who still have the energy, the strength to continue fighting and penetrating these barriers and walls, for us who are in this country, what are some of the things that we can do to try and supplement one of the things that as nurses we experience, which is no money, little money. What are some of the things? And I know Sister Pume had already plugged us, and maybe I will give her first the platform so that she can tell us a bit about the link. But what are some of the things that as nurses we can do to better supplement our lives financially? Because I think the moves that we are making as young nurses and the current generation of nurses in South Africa, the move that we are making, it is mostly or solemnly motivated by finances. I think if it wasn't for finances, we would stay and fight a lot of the things that are happening to our profession. So what are some of the things that you guys think we can do as nurses to try and supplement our lives financially? Sister Pume, I'll ask you to please go first. Nogo, I will come at you after Sister Pume, because I need you to answer the 2 questions.
I think I've touched on the one. Just the to comment on the link. It's WIPS. It's a company that employs nurses either full time or part time, and they're associated with medical aids as well as insurances. So you register, you create a profile, you register, they will invite you for an interview. It's a telephonic one, except if you're in Joburg, because they are in Joburg. Then you will then there's a training, there's a test, like a video. Normally it's because it's for taking bloods. So that's what you do for life covers, or there's a client that's at home that needs maybe anything that they require. So they will allocate you that client. So they pay you. So obviously you will work within your area or your geographic area, and you can be also a part-time nurse, so which means you will allocate cases according to your availability. So that's why I'm saying it's a plug, because you can do it on your off days, you can do it on half days, you can do it whenever you're available. You just go to people, they allocate you, they teach you and train you and orientate you on their platforms on how to do these things. They give you the kit to work, and you get paid. So, like if I have to go to Z, if Z has applied maybe with what outsurance to do a life cover, I need to go take bloods. You will then be linked with Uzi, book an appointment. It's either go to your work or I go to your house, and I take a tube of blood, send it to the lab, and that's it.
It
So
doesn't sound,
it's
and it
not
doesn't
hard.
sound like a trainer's job, ne? It doesn't sound
No,
like a
it's
trainer's
not.
job.
As long as you comply to their, look, their guidelines and SOPs and best practices, that's all. You understand? So I'm not gonna be 100% sure with how much, because the nurse that shared it with me says there's different procedures. So with different procedures, there's different pay. But sometimes those that are even capable of putting IVs or just drips, nothing hectic, no medication, but maybe just IV fluids for a person that is weak and ill and weak at home, you get paid better in those cases, because during the interviews they will ask you those things in terms of immunization of babies as well, if you are used to doing that. So they'll allocate. If there's a mother that needs their baby immunized, you go to her and do that and complete the work and send it to them. Then you get paid. So it's things that you can do just to supplement. Yabona nje mhlambe ilona yemoto nje or ibhondi ingaphuma lapho in a month's
Petrol,
time.
isonka, guys, kudura nesonka ngoku.
Isonka, ipetroli, these small stupid things that is a constant. So you can always take one of the items. So don't expect ukuthi kube imali eningi, but because really at the end of the day, sibaningi nathi. But what I'm saying is, whatever that little money, allocate it, yabo, to something oyibonayo ukuthi it's either it's a school loan esikubangela isicefe, or it's your car insurance and whatnot, so that you get relieved kancane. So let's do these small things, ngoba guys, to locum is quite hard. It's tiring to work 7 to 7 in your own hospital, and then night duty you go work somewhere else. Guys, I tried it and I collapsed for 3 days. What to manje, sorry, never again. So so guys, let's do things also that will also still keep us within our families as well. Amana plugs amanye, please guys, plug us ukuthi okay.
I'm sending them a request ophume zezi board members zifuna uhlala kwi-comment section no Kongelani. They are writing recommendations on the comment sections. They never want to join Mtakaba. No, go over to you, my friend. Welcome and good evening.
Good evening, my friend.
How are you, Pumiaka? It's been a while.
It's been a while, ne? Dumela Mpumi and Eugene, le kae?
Ntate, le kae lona?
Another thing, wait.
Sharp.
So, yes, my friend, question how, ne? It's very deep, and especially the first question. Yeah, are you naive, or do you really think that we this generation of nurses can really change the status quo? I think, my friend, is twofold. Our problems, are institutional and they are systemic.
Sure.
Our problems runs very, very, very deep, and I was happy because I joined this life while it was in the middle and you guys were talking of politics. And politics, of course, controls everything. if we can just check where these problems of nursing are coming from, it's of course the history of the profession itself.
Sure.
And it doesn't, as much as we have professionalized the profession, but the history, the dark side of the history of this profession, keeps on bringing its ugly head time and again.
Hey!
Where Yes, time and again. And you will be surprised, even to those people that you hold them in high esteem, academics and managers who are very, very high in positions of authority, acting somehow irrelevant to the transformation of this profession. I will give you an example of myself. I've been a young manager, and when I joined the management at a young age, that was when I was still boiling, with youngness in Daba.
Yeah.
So when I'm in the meeting with these managers, and I want to bring points across, and I quote youngness in Daba there and there, and you could see the reception that I was receiving at that moment.
Yeah.
And one of them, in one meeting, after the meeting, she was one of the seniors. I won't be able to say the rank because it might. Yeah, she said to me, "You know what? Here we don't entertain such unions. If you want to succeed in this profession and in the field, in the direction that you have taken of being a manager, you have to align yourself properly." That is why I commented there and I said, unfortunately, with politics, you serve the master. Because as if that was not enough, she kept on saying it again and again, and she actually brought the forms of this other union to say, yes, to say, you know what, you must deregister from this union and join this union. I'm telling you, and honestly, right now, Zanella, at that point in time, I did deregister. I did. I'm telling you, I'm a member of this other union now.
Oh,
You was forced down your throat, my friend.
Yeah, that is why I'm telling you, Huri, with politics, unfortunately, you serve the master. And when I was vocal, I was trying to be transformational there and there, I would get support. But other matters that are, and you must remember that now in Gauteng, our metros are run by municipalities, and we want to please the mayors. So if the mandate is coming from the mayor's office, we need to implement. It doesn't matter if we have human resource, the capability, the skill, or whatever. We have to implement, because our leaders who aligned themselves with the political parties, they have vowed to say, we will serve this master, come rain, come sunshine. And unfortunately, that is where our profession is at the moment. I do believe, yes, there is light at the end of the tunnel, Zanelli. There is this thing, natural selection. Obviously, these people are exiting the system. Others are dying, and we are remaining. At the college where I did my undergrad, when I was doing first year, there were these seniors, and now they are gone. Young people are HODs.
Yes.
You see? And I'm like, now we are heading towards transformation. It's just a matter of believing in ourselves and not being shy to actually bringing forward what we believe this profession is supposed to be. I think we can get somewhere in that regard. And with regard to your other question, I think Pumi has elaborated enough on that one, because really there is high rate of unemployment in South Africa. Kore, I cannot encourage someone to say, go look for another job or go and do what. The bottom line is that we are not making enough as nurses. And we know that the Department of Health employs a lot of nurses. I think more than 60% of nurses are being employed in the Department of Health. And then they use the OSD, which, doesn't pay a nurse anything. So, you know what? I think if we can get anything that we can just get our hands on, if we can be business minded, you know, cryptocurrency. I don't know if I can advocate for cryptocurrency because I've got some few people whom I've seen it working for them. Cryptocurrency, but I realize it's risky because you gajiwa phela.
Yatamaya 15K, ya Department of Health.
Yatamaya. So, but hey, that one is a difficult question. In my office, what else can I do? Because now my friend, I used to talk her so much. Now I used to supplement my salary with toho.
You did.
So because I tried other things, they didn't work. I tried, and then I was just tohering wire. So I think I've achieved a lot with my toho, but that takes so much on my mental and my physical health.
Yeah.
So at some point, you just have to put a full stop to it and say, you know what, let me just see how to survive, in this economy of Ramaphosa.
I think I've got two more follow-up questions, and one of them is similar to what Maureen brought up on the comment section. I think she said that like the older managers are not supportive towards us. And I think the two questions I have are similar because I brought her in because I wanted her to elaborate further on what she commented on, but at the same time, I want us to talk about, as a young person working in an environment where you meet managers like the one who said, in this panel, in this table, you don't bring up such unions. And the manager actively brings new forms for you to fill in. I think as young people, we need to speak about how do we navigate ourselves in such spaces. Because if you find yourself in a space such as the space that Maureen describes, a space where the managers are not supportive, the managers are not welcoming. How do you? Actually, I wish I can invite Ukhona, but he's really not someone that likes speaking in public because he's in Denosa, and I think he probably knows better. Because guys, I want to say, as young people, Eugene, you at the beginning of the live, you said we need to affiliate ourselves with political parties, and someone like me, Uzanele, I said I don't like politics because I am an emotional person. I get personal. I like if you come at me in a way that is oppressive, I can't sit down or back off and allow you to oppress me. I'm always upfront to say, hey, you're not going to treat me that way. Now, I think we need to talk about the emotional intelligence that we as young people need so that we can be able to sit in such spaces, such tables where you are told that political view, it's not allowed in this table. Guys, how do we Maureen says we find ourselves working under management that is not supportive, and I would like her to further elaborate.
Yeah, my friend.
What she meant on that.
Just to add something, ne?
Yeah.
If you are going to be against the system, my friend, the truth and the bottom line is you will reach a cul-de-sac. Because if you are going to be against the majority, I mean, if you are working with people, they are your colleagues. And these people, they've got the potential of making or breaking you.
True.
And you can see that they are adamant with this one point. And honestly, if this point doesn't really take much away from you, And as an individual, as a person who's looking for personal growth and a professional growth, obviously you at some point you're just going to give in. And I'm happy because you want us to discuss the emotional and the intelligence that we can have as young people in order to navigate such spaces. So I think I'll benefit so much if I can have somebody who can share some light in this regard.
I love what you said, that we need to look at what is the point of matter here. What's at table here? Is this worth letting go? Is this worth fighting for? And someone asked you asked on the comment section to say, how did you get into management when Nanogo at a very young age? And I told her that your nursing career journey is on our YouTube channel. Maureen, hello, good evening. How are you? I think you are muted. Hi, how are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, yes. Thank you so much, Z, for such a platform. I think I commented because of speaking.
Yeah, I think your network is very bad. We keep losing you.
The nursing department, we get a lot of resistance.
Okay, guys, I think Maureen's network is extremely bad. Maybe we can have her back in a moment. Mpumi,
Can you hear me?
we keep losing you, love. I think it's your network. Mpumi? Tawedi?
Hello, guys.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
We are good. Your take?
Sorry?
What's your take?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I don't know. I don't know anything that I can say because now, with our managers, we are being really oppressed. So I think it's the survival of the fittest right now, and if you can survive, you can survive. If not, then you try other things.
Let me tell you guys what I think, right? And I'm gonna go back to Nogo's point when he said Nogo said that at times I think emotional intelligence also involves you being able to say this battle is not worth it. And let me tell you what I think and how I see things, right? Personally, I think our battles as nurses are bigger than the experiences we have here in the facility.
Yes.
You know, if you are experiencing resistance from your manager in the facility, if you are experiencing resistance from your operational manager in the facility, I feel like our battles are bigger than what we experience on day to day in the facility. If guys, I'm a firm believer of living in an environment that holds me captive. And I'm not saying Kamile Ritufule, you know, I don't know how can I translate this in Xhosa or in Zulu. But ukuyithufula, like it's to leave a situation prematurely without, I don't know if there's anyone that can help me. What does huitufula mean? But it's like leaving a situation abruptly without even thinking or prematurely. Let me leave it. Let me put it like that. Personally, I believe, I'm a firm believer in living environments that holds me captive. I think above and beyond anything in a workplace, there are things that I can withstand. In the profession, there are things that I can withstand, as long as those things, they don't make me feel like I'm being held captive. Guys, we sometimes find ourselves under management that holds us captive. Like you become a prisoner. You yourself, you feel, look, you know what? My career is not going anywhere. As long as I am in this facility, as long as I am in this sub-district, nothing is going to change in my life. And if you are held captive, if you are under captivity, then it means we, as a nursing profession, we are one soldier down.
Yeah, true.
I will tell you this: if I was still at Department of Health today, it would mean that I would be a prisoner, and I don't think this platform would be here. I don't think I would be penetrating as hard as I'm penetrating had I not left that environment that wanted to capture me. I think as young nurses, as much as we sit in these spaces where people are saying that political view is not allowed here, as much as we find ourselves in these spaces, we also need to ask and to say, am I being held captive here? Because you can be oppressed, but still be effective in the workplace, still be able to see change, still be able to be impactful. But the moment you see that now I'm not being impactful because I'm held captive, I think it's best if we exit, guys. And by exiting, I don't mean exit and stop the mandate, but I'm saying find an environment that will enable you, or an environment that will allow you to continue being impactful in the profession. Remember that nursing is beyond private or public sector. I don't know if it's Sister Pume or it's Eugene or Nogo, but someone said, oh, I think it's Nogo, he said that in government, it's very difficult to become an operational manager. But remember, even if we can go to private and become operational managers, become assistant directors, become CEOs of private hospitals, that would make us impactful in the nursing fraternity. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true. It's true.
It's true.
But okay, sorry.
You can
I
talk.
think we have the impression that all oldest nurses or senior nurses are not for change. The example that I will give to you is that I had a nursing manager that was quite old, but because the staff was complaining of the formal shoes that we were wearing, that it's not conducive for standing very long. Their feet tend to pain and stuff. Then she said, okay, it's fine, you guys, you can wear sneakers, but can you please be just plain black sneakers? She retired. A new guy came in, a young gentleman, as a nursing manager. He was against those stackies to the point whereby he even went to go withdraw old circulars as to say that you're not allowed to wear this. So that's what I'm saying. It's not all young nurses that are for transformation, and it's not all old nurses that are against transformation. I guess it's a personal thing.
Sure, guys.
So we can't just assume that if a person is young, they want transformation. It's not always the case.
It's, it's true. Mina, I had experienced like a rejection from a local area manager. So I was appointed by Right to Care to work at that specific district. So I don't know what was wrong with everything, because the facility was in a mess.
Sure.
Like patients were returning, it was a mess. So when I came there, within 2 days, 3 days, she started saying I don't wear uniform. She started saying I carry my phone everywhere. I should leave my phone at at the kitchen. He called. Yeah, she called. She even called the ANC counsel on me to say I don't. Yes, and then she said she didn't want me at the facility, and then my then manager asked me if I can change, if I can see that I can change in that facility. Then I said no, I can see that I can be effective because really I'm passionate about the art and everything. So I stayed there for 2 years after that incident, and I made a lot of changes. And then when the post came that they wanted a permanent RN to be absorbed from our staff or from the ComServe, she just chose to freeze the post. Yes,
Sure.
she said no. I don't want her in that facility. So after 2 years, then I moved to another facility because my work was done. So even now, they always call me and say, "What do you do if you want to do this and that?" So I think it's a personal
Mpumi,
thing.
I want to say something about what you just said, ne?
Mm-hmm.
That I initially I wanted to say as the current generation of nurses, which is something that I'm always singing here, we always need to be exceptional. We need to do well.
Mm.
This is what I personally have experienced. Ne? There are doors, there are tables, there are rooms that I would like to find myself in. Ne?
Yes.
And in those rooms, there are already people in them, right?
Mm.
What I have
Mm-hmm.
experienced, Hunandi, I'm going to give you a minute, my love. What I've experienced when Mpumi is that whenever I try to reach out to the people who are already in those rooms, do you know what I experience? I experienced resistance. I called my sister the other day and I said, my gift sometimes hurts me
Mm.
because I'm good. And I know I'm good because of the amount of resistance I get sometimes in rooms that I knock on.
Mm.
There are people that don't want me to sit on the same rooms with them because they know how powerful I am.
Mm.
And these are rooms that are here, right? I'm still here. And whenever I try to go and knock and say, guys, can I come in? Can I please be given a platform? Can I be given an access? People who are already up there, because they look at me and they see the speed that I'm coming with, they already feel like if I can enter in those spaces, I am going to take over, dominate, and exceed them. Therefore, those type of people, they always shut the door on me. But do you know what else have I realized about my life?
Mm-hmm.
That even though those type of people are there and they are a lot, and so many rooms that I would like to be in, they get to be shut on my face. I've also realized how God actually always makes a way.
Very true.
Always makes a way. And when he makes a way, when I finally get through, I never know that actually God made a way here until I get to see where I'm at and see how many people wish they could be where I'm at. And then I tend to ask myself, how did I get here? And I realize that there is absolutely no one in this room who made me to enter this room, but it is God who made a way for me. So there will be people, Mpumi, and your local area manager is one of those people that sees your greatness and they will try to look for the silliest things to make you feel or look like you are not great.
Mm.
And see how you went into the facility and brought change. And now when they were advertising, he or she decided to freeze that post. Because even though you are good, in their eyes, they still feel like you are going to come, you are going to be a challenge. And most of the times, the type of managers who are like that are managers with low self-esteem, passive managers, managers who got positions because of whatever reason.
Mm.
So we need to be smart, guys. I think above everything, as young nurses, we need emotional intelligence to see when a situation is not really about you. Because I know how much it hurts Mpumi, to work hard and not be recognized for your hard work, or people act like they don't see you. You know how loud you can go with your work, like your work speaks for you and it makes so much noise, but there are people who chooses to act like they don't see you. I know how painful that can be, but one thing I will tell you is that God will always make a way, and he might not make a way or make a show on the day that the enemy tries to block you. He might take his time, but he definitely does make a way. And I think as young nurses, we need to know that we are destined for greatness and no one is going to stop us.
Yes. Thank
Absolutely
you.
no one is going to stop us. You know, when I left the sub-district that I was working for, I looked at that guy. I sat with him like one-on-one, the way I'm sitting with you guys. And I said to him, give me the damn program. I don't want the money. Give me the program. I want to run the program. I love it. I've been running it. I've been doing amazing things for the sub-district with this program. All I'm asking is give me the program. Take me out of the consulting rooms. And he says, no, Z, I have plans for you. What plans? Because I should be the one who has plans about my future. I looked at him in the eyes and I said, okay, sharp, you holding me captive. I'm not going to allow you to do that. I'm resigning. And he thought I was kidding. 2 weeks later, I gave them an immediate effect. Hunandi, hi, can you please give me 1 minute? But you guys can continue without me. Hunandi, hi.
Good evening, and evening to everybody in the live. My name is Nadi, and I'm an R171 student, part of the 2020 group that was taken in. I'm not sure if everybody is aware, but we are the group that has been holding protests on our campuses, and we even marched to the Premier's office demanding the retention of R171 nurses while awaiting the board examination. I just wanted to comment on the issue of politics. Messi mentioned something along the lines that she doesn't like politics because she gets emotional and everything. And I think you and I share the same sentiment, but I believe in everything that is in me that I am not supposed to like politics in any way, but I am supposed to engage politically because of the state of our profession. So with me, I think politically, I've always, I wasn't even aware that I was being political as a student or just as a young citizen in our country, but I've always been a person who's going to say, no, but this and that should be done. No, but rather let's do this and that. And I used to catch so much offense when people would say to me, no, but you make everything about politics. Because in my head, I'm like, no, politics is your ANCs and versus your EFAs and everything. And then I learned that actually, with politics, politics is basically activities that lead us to some sort of common ground or some sort of governance. That is what politics is all about. And I would like to encourage nurses not to shy away from that platform because that is where our key is. That is where advocacy for ourselves and not just the nurses and the patients that we render our services to. Should come in, but we should also stand up for ourselves. I think the root of our issue is bigger than we can imagine because I'm thinking in the words, it's this hard. College is worse because we get bullied in college, we get marginalized in college, we get silenced in college. You would hear
Yay!
stories like I was failed because I was in the SRC. I was in the SRC for 2 years. I was also in the provincial SRC. I even got to the presidential seat in the SRC. And I remember one time I was sitting in an appeal session where a student was presenting with mental health issues. They had all the documents from the doctor. They had all the proof that they were not able to cope or anything like that. And that case was dismissed. So when the outcome came out, I remember sending an email and saying, but we cannot dismiss the fact that the student was sick, and now the doctor is saying they are able to function. They have put in measures in place to help them cope and everything like that. So why are you still dismissing the student if you can give them like one more chance to rewrite that examination because they were not feeling okay? If we had a student who broke their leg and they were not able to make the examination, Why exclude the student who had a mental breakdown just hours before writing the examination?
Sure.
And I'm like, beyond everything, we can say students are lazy, we like partying, we like, but look at the track record of the student. The student is an A performer. This is an above average student. They have one tragedy
But
happening to them.
why are we seeing you here for the first time? Let's start there.
I don't know, but I've been jumping in and out and watching the lives now and then. I guess now that I'm unemployed and I'm at home, I have more time
But
to.
we love you. Can you see the comment section is crazy about you?
Oh my goodness. I wasn't even aware because I think in my head, I'm like, nurses need to stand out. I don't know how many times I've been moved from one facility to another or one ward to another because I was engaging the OM in that ward.
Oh
Like
my
some things
goodness.
some things are just uncalled for. I'm a student, but I am not your puppet. I am not here to make you tea and stuff like that. So if we start fighting for ourselves, if we start voicing out, that is how governments work. It works via inputs that are coming in. You cannot rely only on your OM's input or on your OM's intelligence. Things are evolving, times are evolving. The new generation is now up to date with technology and everything. Bring young people in.
Oh
You
my
know, bring young
goodness.
people in. And yes, one can say I am too emotional. I myself am emotional. I have to sometimes like calm myself or walk away to take a breather. Because as much as we might want to deny it, politics is personal. I always say I don't
Oh my
politic because
goodness.
I want to. I politic because I grew up in an environment that had to force me to say, but this is not right, but this is not correct, but the things shouldn't be done like this. I grew up ekasi, ngikhulele ekasini, ngabona khona ukuthi impilo ihamba kanjani. When I started my activism, I was a gender activist that just wanted to be treated equally like the boys. I wanted fair opportunities and everything. As I grew older and I went to varsity and I came to college, I realized that it's the same issues all the time. Now the issue becomes, are we going to be a profession and be in a where it's professionalism throughout, or are we going to face the reality that our profession and our professionalism is influenced and impacted by the political heads that are above us? Imagine we had a meeting with Dr. Senabe, who said to us as R171 2020 group, I cannot say anything to you. I'm just a policy implementer. The answers that you want lie with with the political bosses, which is why we took it to the premier. Because if we are going to have people who just want to implement policy, they are not going to take into consideration the marginalized people by those policies. If you are saying it's not my fault, Senk is the one who came with the body exam, Senk was never going to be able to think about me, Uhunadi, who is going to be unemployed for 6 months, who has a family to feed, who has herself to take care of. So if we do not follow Tiki, we are not going to go anywhere. So I
Hey!
need nurses to start speaking up for themselves, to start advocating for themselves, the very same way we advocate for our doctors. It's so sad seeing illness just following everything that is being done. Uchikwe doctor, uchikwa patient, uchikwa OM, Mausuga, you are not even fulfilled with the life that you are living. This is why nurses are leaving the country. We want a life that is fulfilling, and it starts with us just speaking out for ourselves honestly. So we might be emotional, but politics is emotional because it is
Yeah!
personal.
Hi!
Basically.
Yo! Hi! Okay, chat is over. Give us your account number so that we can give a button offering. Thank you, Pastor, for the preaching. Maskupeni tulo, sneak and long time offering. Ipheli kawe.
Sithandaze silale.
Mastanda then,
Z, Z, do you remember when I said to Yaz Uhonandi takes me back to our first live when we spoke? What did I say to you? Angeke survive as nurses if singenayo inkani.
Yay!
You will never get anywhere if ungenayo inkani, but have a way of putting yourself out there. But ube nenkani. Inkani helps because at the end of the day, guys, siyabhulishwa in all aspects, as Uhunandi is saying. Everywhere since uqala ukufunda uya kuphi sizophelela kuphi. Because even working without resources, that's bullying.
True.
That's bullying. Have you ever heard ukuthi upresident akanayo petrol?
Never.
to go to a meeting, akanayo i-Wi-Fi, why yena akwazi ukwenza umsebenzi wakhe, ama-employees akhe off sick, no. And then akakwazi ukwenza ini, thina we must struggle, siyenza ini, si-improvisa. That's bullying. That's really, really bullying. And unfortunately, abo OM nabantu abadala abadala are the ones that really made things worse because they accepted this bullyism. Now they want to shove it down our throats when you know very well that this is not quality that you are giving to our people, but you are just quantitizing izinto that are unnecessary and injuring our human beings. So nje, I'm loving Uhunandi and she's gonna fly. Girl, you're gonna get a job. If you can't get a job, create your own.
You know what, Sister
Find
Pumi?
ways to create your own. You will thrive. We need people abafana nawe. But njengoba ngisho ukuthi inkani yethu, as we much we have it, guys, all of us we have it. Because like we love each other, we love our job, we love our patients, we love our communities. I think we just need to find a way to start building kancane. I'm sure ne-ANC yaqala kancane ekhoneni somewhere ngaba 2, ngaba 3, ngaba 4, now ingaka. Because nabo they had inkani, but they had ways of how to implement inkani yabo until it gained a lot. Not with our communities of young nurses, we will. But in J guys, yeah,
I wanted
we
to
have
bring
to.
Hunandi back because she mentioned something. She said that I wanted to ask her a question, I think for my personal reasons. Hunande, I had to bring you back. You said that I want to ask you this question. How do you not get tired? Because emotions are very tiring. They are texting. How do you not get tired? Because you are saying, you heard me saying I'm too emotional for politics, but politics are an emotional thing. How do you not get tired? And also, how do you handle your emotional intelligence? Particularly, I wanted to even ask you to say, what were the outcomes of your march? I was pretty much aware of the march that you guys took in Gauteng, but I didn't hear about the outcomes. And I know, because of the country that we are living in, I know that the outcomes that you guys probably got are not pleasing. And today you are here speaking to us with so much enthusiasm. And I think I want to ask you to say, where does your strength comes from? What sustains you to want to continue pushing and penetrating, like pushing boundaries? You know, that thing is very difficult and it's not easy. How do you navigate your emotional intelligence? Sissy, how old are you? Because I think you are very young. I mean, I'm sure you are 10 years younger than me. But your emotional intelligence is on another level. How do you do this?
Okay, I'm 24. I'm 24 years old, and our march through the Premier's office was basically unsuccessful. And there is a lot of factors that we are now realizing as the delegates who were sent in, Ogo we were basically hijacked in that march because we were escalating the issue now to the political bosses, like we were told. And when we got to the meeting, there were no political bosses in sight. Basically, we were now sitting in a meeting with the college again and the Department of Health. And they were saying to us they still maintain that they do not have budgets to retain the R171 outgoing nurses. And mind you, this is around 167 of us, but that number might go lower due to students who had to repeat and students who still had supplementary examinations, and also our internal students or RPL students who are already in the system. So looking only at the bursary students, it could possibly be 120 of us who just needed to be retained. And we were saying to them, because we understand we do not have a title yet, due to us not being registered as nurses yet, but we are still registered as students, we can negotiate our way around the stipends that we are going to receive. We were honestly not asking for much. but the outcome was unsuccessful. But the department had promised to make measures or put measures in place to ensure that the following cohorts, all the groups that came after us, do not face the same predicaments that we are in, where they have to sit for 6 months waiting for board exam and then.
Well done, baby girl. Well done. I always say that sometimes our fights, we will not benefit the fruits, but someone coming behind us will benefit the fruits, and that is regarded as success. I might plant the tree today and eat nothing from the tree, but the fact that another generation is going to eat from a tree that I planted, that makes me a pioneer. Well done to you guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I am happy that the other groups will be secured and they will not be having the same issues that we are having. And they promise that they will be absorbed. So we are now just waiting for a written communication coming from the Premier's office following the meeting that we had. A promise that also they are going to negotiate in terms of moving the board examination dates so that they can accommodate the other cohorts who were also left behind with 6 months. They could also get the opportunity to write immediately and therefore get to be employed shortly after that, because the economy is too bad, honestly, to be at home for 6 months with your skill decaying or anything like that. So students were happy with the outcome. It's said for the 120 or 30 of us who have to now sit at home, but we are glad that there is 1,000 more students who are now secured and moving forward.
Well done.
Where do I get my strength from? I think I learned. I do not necessarily know. It's probably the values that were instilled in me from growing up. I went to a school that preached a lot about honesty, a lot about not giving up. Those were basically the values from school. And when you start instilling them in kids each and every day, it's something that you preach to them. When you start teaching Untana Koguti, when you use the bathroom, take the brush and clean around and flush it, it becomes a practice and it grows in them. But the other thing, I think, beyond and above everything, I think I've grown to understand the power of my voice. I've grown to understand the impact that I can make by just voicing out or suggesting or pointing at another thing that could be used to save the situation or anything like that. Yes, it needs a lot of emotional intelligence. And I think for myself is I've accepted the human that I am. So if we are going to be in a conversation and you're not going to hear me and I'm feeling frustrated, if I need to cry, I will go cry. It is okay. You can never come and say to me, no, but this one is too emotional and stuff like that. Then you're taking the human in me. The moment I accepted the human in me, that I'm going to feel very frustrated in political settings or meetings or just general conversations where I feel like the next person is not hearing my point of view or anything like that, I'm going to step out and cry and let it out. Because if I deny myself of the human nature that is within me, I am going to deny myself also of the capability to go higher and master that human nature in me. I think the worst and the most painful that happened to us as the Black nation or the South Africa that we are today is that people, the emotional side of people died. That is why we are having HODs who can say to you, do not glamorize poverty because we are all from poverty. And because they suffered and now they are at a higher level, you are not even able to see the hardships that the other people are going to follow. If you suffered, why are you not making sure that the other people do not get to suffer? So it's the little things. I feel the human side of our politicians has died so much. It's greed that has taken over. That's why we have issues like your corruption. That's why we have leaders who do not care. That's why we have the management who laughs at students. I don't know if people have seen the videos where we were protesting or where we were talking to our doctors and during our meeting, but there was a point in time where he was just standing there and he was laughing. There was a time where our school principal was receiving a memorandum and she was laughing. It all leads to all these things because we allow the emotional and the human side of us to die. If politics was given to people who were leading from their heart, we wouldn't be here. We need servants more than we need politicians. We need people who are going to say, umntana needs to dress, umntana needs to go to school, umntana needs to succeed. Mom, keep a program where you train them, give them mom 70. That is the human in us. That is the 7 sheep that we need. But because we have politicians who are consumed by greed and they want to fill their pockets and everything, they would rather sit in their high offices and watch you toy and do all these things. And when you hand them your memorandum, they laugh at you. That is when you realize what you feel from within. And it's so sad because in nursing, those are the qualities that you need to take care of omunyu mundu. So it's these little things, it's these little tweaks that are there and there. The moment the human in you dies, how are you going to care for another human? How is it that nursing is now about compassion and all these things, while the leaders at the top do not even have the very same compassion for the people who are serving under them? And again, we move from what? From being politicians to now moving into being servants and saving. And I believe that is why people in higher offices like your MECs and your premiers, that's the qualities that those people should be having to serve the people. We wouldn't be here if we had people who were serving honestly and wholeheartedly. We wouldn't be having these conversations today. But yeah, I guess that is where my strength comes from. I don't like feeling stuck, and I don't like seeing other people stuck. And I'm always like, I need to push to the end. Is it exhausting? Very much so. Very, very much so. But I let the human in me come out. If I need to cry, I will go cry and then come back and politique again because we need to get somewhere.
Thank you.
That is basically how it goes.
Thank you. You've helped me, right? Because I did not. I don't know, and I always say this, that I don't regard myself as a politician. I always say that to people. I don't regard myself as a politician. I'm not a politician, but I stand, like I always tell people, I'm assertive, but I'm not a politician. Thank you so much for teaching us emotional intelligence, because you just taught us that emotional intelligence, it's not also knowing when to not fight and knowing when to fight. Sometimes it is allowing yourself to be human and allowing yourself to express yourself in a humanly way. Hunandi, you're reminding me of a clip that I think it's Professor Pageng. Is it Pageng from UCT? Professor Pageng, after that scandal of being released at UCT, he was interviewed by this other arrogant journalist. He's popular, guys, I think you know him. But that journalist was asking very demeaning questions. And Pageng said, people said I must not, this journalist was saying to Pageng, so and so says this about you. You are arrogant, you are this, you are that, you are that. And Pageng said, do you know how many people have said I must not do an interview with you because you are a weak journalist, you are a journalist under the payroll of white people? Pageng started, I don't know if you guys know that clip. It went on YouTube. I think it was also here on TikTok. And then it became a big thing on Twitter, right? It's JJ Tabani. Do you know what people said on Twitter, Hunande? I went and I read. I also don't engage on Twitter because I feel like I'm too emotional. That's one of the reasons I'm not active on Twitter, because I always feel like I'm too emotional. But I went on Twitter and I looked at the conversations. Some people were saying, oh, she's too smart to be responding like that. She lacks emotional intelligence. And there was a guy, Hunande, who I feel like you are echoing his comment so much to me. That guy came and said, you're like ridiculous to think that emotional intelligence means you must take abuse and be quiet and not react to abuse. I mean, this guy went at Pageng and no one said anything. No one sees anything wrong with how this guy went at Pageng. But when Pageng, Kahi says they call him a journalistic buffoon, right? And Pageng says, this comment says, Pageng is responding and calling this guy to order, and Yala saying she lacks emotional intelligence. And Wayangamtuki, guys, like, she wasn't swearing at this guy. She was just quoting the things that are being said about this guy, as much as this guy is quoting all the negative things that are being said about Pageng. Hunandi, thank you so much for teaching us what emotional intelligence is that the public and the community says is not. This friend of mine that I had lunch with today said to me, we're speaking about politics because he's in politics. When I said to him, I'm too emotional to be in politics, he said, but then women are emotional. And I said to him, and it's okay for us to be emotional. Like men, and secluded gender guys, but men like to say, oh, women are leading with emotions, as if it is something wrong. Personally, I don't think there is something wrong with us being emotional as women. And Hunandi, you've echoed that to say to us, particularly us who are scared into getting into politics because we feel we are too weak and emotional, that it's okay for us to go in there with that emotional aspect of us being alive so that we can become servants more than we can become people in power. We appreciate you so much, Sissy. We appreciate everything that you've shared with us today. I think personally, I always say that when we live this life, we need to go and implement. I think what you and Eugene have said today about politics, I'm definitely needing to go back and sit down and say, where am I going to go pertaining politics? How am I going to use my voice? I need not to put a disclaimer every time I'm speaking against injustice and say, oh, by the way, I'm not a politician, because that's what we do. We put a disclaimer all the time to say, by the way, I'm not into politics. I'm not a politician, but this is what I think. I think I'm gonna stop being apologetic and actually start using my voice without using disclaimers. Guys, I don't know if Maureen still struggles with network or not. Kagiso is here. Kagiso believes in advocacy, but he does advocacy completely different. Like Hunandi was saying that you need to go cry and come back and doi. Kagiso does a lot of doing, but he does it differently. And I think I would like to hear, he joined the conversation a little bit late, but I would like him to tell us how he doied when the South African Nursing Council was blocking R425 from furthering their studies. Kagiso went and doied at the South African Nursing Council. I don't know if he's still here, but I sent him an invite. Prince, can you please accept if you are still here? Kongelani, can I bring you in, my darling? Bring you in. Maureen?
Yes, hi Z.
Hi, my darling.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so I am Maureen Musi.
Dr. Maureen Musi, please say
Yes.
it correct. Say it correct.
Dr. Maureen Musi, midwifery educator from the University of Pretoria. Thank you so much, Z, for such a platform. I think we're learning a lot, not only from clinical practice. You would think that we can get resistance only like in clinical practice, in the hospital, but we also do get resistance in the higher education institutions.
Sure.
Like speaking as a young academic, we get so much resistance that you don't even believe. We're working in such toxic environments that are not good for our growth, that are not good, that like we work in environments where there is sort of like a notion that goes around that we are too young to lead. I mean, what does that mean? How are we too young to lead? Have we ever been given those platforms for us to really express and show them that it's not about being young.
Yeah.
It's about what we are bringing to the table. It's about looking at the end result or the focus. So I think most of the times that we want to be on those tables, we want to be part of those rooms, but we are really not getting support.
Sure.
We're getting shut down from all angles. I'm not sure why. Are they afraid we're gonna take those positions and all that? But it's really not good. So we have to force or work our way through managers that resist to change. I mean, we're living in a fourth industrial revolution. We need innovation. We need young people. We are saying that young people are the future, but young people are not on the tables.
True.
And why is that? It's because of managers that are resisting to change.
Sure.
And if they continue resisting to change, but they are leaving the practice. and we are the ones that are staying, but still they are not taking us through. They are not teaching us ways, because we're not saying that we actually not saying that they are to leave the profession. We are saying let's work together.
Yes.
Let's hear what does the young person want to assist in terms of leading the change. And also we work together with them. We're not saying they go out of their positions.
Yes.
We say they must give us the platform so that they can see what young people want to bring. And I thank Unadi so much that we really, really, really have to, sometimes politics is what is needed for us to really, really end up being at the table. And one other thing that I learned, we were at the International Confederation Midwives Conference. We learned that they said that for us to be in part of the tables, we have to join associations. We have to join political associations. So that is only one way that we can really, really forge through, be resilient, and end up being in leadership positions. So if that's the way that is needed for us to be at the table, so be it. But they really, really, it's what Hunadi was saying, is that we're having so many people in political structures that don't have our best interest at heart. They are just there to get the money and go home, but not enforce any change anyway for our nursing profession. So we really, really need to speak up. We really, really need those platforms. And thank you so much, Z, for opening such a platform. I really think that we are getting there. Our voices will be heard. I think we are getting there. And Z, don't say you're not political. We need people like you, really, to get us there. Somebody has to lead the way. Like, we should not all of us be afraid to say we are not political. Or so then who will lead us? Who will lead this change? So I really think that if it means being part of associations, part of political associations, let's do it so that we can get our voices heard. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my love. You guys are bringing, you guys have brought a challenge to, you guys really brought a challenge today. When I started this live, I didn't know that we are actually going to amplify the importance of being affiliated with these organizations. And I am glad that we're all able to gather and actually advise each other about such things, so that we all can be impactful. Because if I am impactful in my own space, you are impactful in your own space, Dr. Maureen. Eugene is impactful in his own space. I believe that our impact will be visible in the nursing fraternity. Guys, let us not get tired. Guys, let us not get tired. Maureen, well done to people like you, because you guys are forging, like you guys are penetrating, no matter how difficult it is. As much as when they close these doors on you, as much as it is not nice working with people who are resistful, but you guys are fighting. You guys are fighting, and we see you, and you guys should never stop. I love what Hunandi said, that it's unfortunate that as the current generation of R174, we are not benefiting anything from the march that we took. But there is thousands and thousands of students that are not going to go through what we are going through. And your likes, Maureen, people who are trying to make a difference in their own respective spaces, you might not benefit now the works of the fruits of your works, but there's going to be someone younger who's going to report to you, who's not going to experience the same resistance that you experience. I think I take so much pride in that, and every time I fight for something in the profession, I always think, even if I'm not going to benefit from it, I have a 5-year-old daughter who always says she wants to be a nurse. So every time I do something, I always think, she doesn't have to fight. She doesn't have to struggle with the same struggles that I'm struggling with. When she's 21 and she becomes a nurse, she shouldn't be fighting about money. She shouldn't be fighting about money. She should be fighting about something else. She should know that her mom fought might not benefit that money. That's the other struggle that I personally think we are the generation that's going to change this whole thing of nurses being paid peanuts in the country. I believe we are going to change that. And we might not be the ones who are going to eat that money, but our children who are going to become professional nurses in the future and ENs or ENAs, they are the ones who are going to benefit. So guys, let us not stop. Young nurses, let us not stop. Let us not stop. If you feel like you are exhausted, reach out to Hunandi, reach out to Dr. Maureen, reach out to Eugene, reach out to Nesli. If you feel like, you know what, I feel exhausted in my own space, I feel like I'm being held captive, I feel like I need to declutter mentally, because let us also be realistic that these work environments that we find ourselves in, they affect us mentally, they affect our mental health. Our workspaces, the treatment we get at our workspaces affects our mental health. And I feel like every now and then we need people that you are gonna go to and say, hey, this is what's happening. Can I give you a call? Can we talk about this? How would you handle this? But guys, let us not give up. I strongly believe that we are the generation that's going to change the status quo in our profession. We are the ones, like in this year, I spoke to a couple of Nurses Day interactions of different organizations. I was invited. Kongelani, I'm so sad that you can't join us on the talk. But I said to most nurses that I'm personally tired of celebrating Florence Nightingale. I'm tired. I'm tired of celebrating a lady who was here in 1902. I'm very tired of always be speaking about Florence Nightingale. She was a pioneer. I respect her for that. But who is the current Florence Nightingale? We need someone now, like in our day and like in our day age time, we need someone who is a pioneer, someone who's breaking boundaries, someone who's going to be put on the same pedestal as Florence Nightingale. And that person is amongst us. Guys, we need to become. Guys, we've got a greater mission as the current generation of nurses. We need to become. These kids need to read books about us and the things that we did, the very same way we were reading books about Florence Nightingale. Our children need to read books about us. Our children should not be reading books about Florence anymore. They should be reading books about us when they become nurses. In your own facility, Mtase, in your own little consulting room, please use your voice. Hunanda said, the moment I realized how important it is for me to use my voice, a voice is very powerful. A voice is very powerful. One of the reasons people go to extreme measures to shut voices, it's because voices are powerful. I mean, look at the whistleblower, is it Babeta, who got assassinated just because she was using her voice. I'm not saying we should get assassinated, but I'm saying our voices, they do bring change. When we use our voices, they bring change. They do bring change. There's something I would like to share here, but I don't know if it's safe. But there's a situation that happened that I want to share with you guys in the future. There's a situation that happened at work, right? And it had been happening for years before I could come at work. The situation was happening for years. But when I came and I spoke, the situation stopped. And people who has left the organization because of that particular situation, they were like, why is the situation only stopping now? After so much damage has happened, why is the situation only stopping now? But the situation stopped because I came in and then I was like, no, I'm not working in this environment. Guys, I said, everybody stop. Like when I get in a space, and I feel like, no, this is not working for me, I will make sure that the church stops, like yonkinto stop her, and we focus on what I'm identifying as a problem. That's one of the things that makes me say I don't think I'm fit for politics, because it's like I will make a stop show. Like, we will stop and we will watch what I have identified, and we will all deal with it. So I brought it up. It was in 2 months' time of me being in the company. That thing was solved. And people who had left because of that thing kept on saying, like, why are they only solving it now? Like, after so many years of this thing happening. But it was because I used my voice. And even when I leave the organization, the people who are going to come and join the organization, they're not going to experience what other people were experiencing. Because one girl came and she used her voice and people listened. So in your workspaces, guys, your voice is important. Your voice is important. Use your voice, even if you might not benefit from using it. But the fact that you know, go to someone, a younger nurse, is going to come into your facility and benefit, let's utilize it. I don't know if there's anyone who wants to say anything, but I've learned so much today from all of you guys, the people who spoke, the people in the comment section. I've learned so much from you guys. I personally didn't think that politics had a lot of impact and can actually open a way for us as nurses to accelerate change in our profession. And I think what I love about us as young nurses is the fact that we have each other. Men, we have each other. This is a subject only the selfless may comprehend. Lunga says that. We have each other. I appreciate that about us, because I don't think we are isolated as young nurses. And by young nurses, I literally mean like from the youngest person up to the ages of 50. I don't think we are operating like separately. I think we are united. We might not be as united as we need to be, but I think we have each other. And may it continue be like that. May we continue to grow closer to one another and understand that we are not competitors with one another. We are great together, more effective and more powerful. When you see a young person, so this is what I normally go through, right? I normally look at these young people, the likes of Ohunandi. Hey guys, these girls, these kids are putting us under pressure. Did you guys see how she came here and made us feel like we are all her students and she's the lecturer? Hey, but I see how this young generation of nurses who are young, like in their early 20s, they are coming at a very fast pace. These ones, they are not playing lunga. Abantwana basifaki pressure, bruh. There's no one ayibona na londo kanye ibonwa ndim ndedwa. But every time I look at them and I feel like, these ones are powerful, I always hold my hand and put it in my heart and say, Lord, help me to celebrate their greatness. Help me to realize that their greatness is not a threat to me, but their greatness is going to accelerate the mandate that I have for the profession. Help me to understand that I'm a team with these young people. Help me to understand that as I run the race, I have someone to give on the baton to. Maureen said that the older generation of nurses are managers. They are resistant to us. It's like they don't want to let us in. And Maureen says, it's not that we are saying they must step down. They must relax. We're not saying they must step down, but we are saying, give us the baton, teach us how to do this. I love what Maureen is saying, because there's a lady who's very old. I think she's in her 60s. She says she's a professional nurse, and she says, this generation of nurses, I just don't know. Guys, because we look confused. There's nothing in our existence. She said that to me. I took so much offense, and I looked at her and I said, I wonder, who do we have to blame for what you are saying, sister? Because what you are saying to me is, we are a lost generation. But my question is, who was supposed to show us the way? Clearly, if we are a lost generation, it means someone did not show us the way. It means someone did not give us the baton of greatness, because she was saying their generation of nurses was great and it's the best thing that the country has ever had. And I said to her, I think that you guys did not give us the baton of greatness, and you guys are the problem. You guys are the actual problem, that you were great in your times and you were great in the profession, but you did not give us that baton. That's what I said to her. I said, I wonder who do we have to blame for what you are saying about us as this generation of nurses. And every time I feel like I'm being intimidated by these young ones, because they are coming at a very fast pace, these ones. I always hold my hand and say, Tiko, make me see these kids as a faster way for the mission and the vision that I have for our profession to be achieved. Let me not see them as a competition. When they are coming, running at me and saying, Neszik, we want to take on the mission that you are holding. We want your vision. We want to go forward with it. When they come to my DMs and say, Neszik, this is what we want, may I not have that spirit of wanting to block these kids and saying, no, you are too quick. You are too, may I not have that spirit, Bandla? I always pray for my heart, because also sometimes we are unable to see our actions, particularly if we don't evaluate our hearts. Some of these managers, I don't think they evaluate. Self-evaluation, I don't think it's something that they do. Because if they did it, if they looked at the struggles that they had as managers or as young nurses, if they looked at those struggles, they wouldn't allow another young nurse to go through the same struggles. You know, you hear a nurse saying when you're complaining, a manager saying when you're complaining to them, you're like, oh, I don't think I'm coping with 1, 2, 3. They like, they would say something like, I struggled. In my times, it was even worse. So basically, they are saying, endure injustice because I endured a greater injustice. Atuntu, you are enduring injustice. That one is better. I went through more traumatic experiences. And this is a manager, someone who can actually make a change, someone who can bring a change about the situation that you are bringing to their attention. Experiences. They're saying endure. Imagine, actually endure, because I went through. Imagine if a person who's being abused by their partner, and then you are saying, no, you can endure that. You are being verbally abused. Now I was physically assaulted, so you must endure that. You are saying it's acceptable because it's better than your situation. Those are the type of managers that we have, particularly because they don't do self-evaluation. As young nurses, I think we need to teach ourselves that. Sit down and say, how am I to my colleagues? How am I to the people that I'm working with? How am I to the younger generation of nurses that are coming to my DMs, that are coming to my platforms? When they're asking me about these things, am I breaking their spirits or I'm encouraging them? You know? Hi, Lunga, your network is so weak. At all people must go
It's Ramava.
a wrong impression about nurses. Baninzi, hi. Lunga, we can hear you now.
Hi. Okay. Mulweni between and late, but I think you touched on something. Yazi, there was a generation of nurses that was so submissive that they allowed everything to just go wrong.
Sure.
And by the time we got into nursing, when we were trying to be heard with our voices, we used to have a lecturer you, when I listen to you Mkebuza, I just know that nursing has gone to the dogs.
Yeah,
you know, and by that time we are fighting for Ipasari system to be fixed, because it was a stipend before we came. And then that year that we started training year 2, it became Ipasari. So it was so unfair. Yes, it became Ipasari. It was so unfair.
Which year was this, Lunga?
It was in 2012. We were intake of 2012.
Same here. We went through the same thing. And I'll tell you the comments that came from the higher department. I'll tell you how about it.
Yo, Chonga, and to this day, I met someone, I think, in the sense of ComServe. And the minute she heard my surname, she just knew who I was. because of ileta enandiyibhalile during my SRC days esikolweni. You understand? And so I'm trying to align with what you were saying, that Baba, now, when you are doing something in that is sort of political, or when you are defending abanye abantu as students, you are not doing it for yourself. Because even now, when you go and mention certain names at an institution where you went to and you were part of abantu who were in politics, people know your name because there is so much that you changed. There was so much impact that even now they are warned not to go into politics. Ngawe, you understand? So my point is that when we are doing these things and arguing, so that the situation may be better, it's not just for us, because most of the time we don't see the fruits of that thing. But years later, oh, this is how things are happening now. And it's something that you started, you understand, back then, okanye you were part of back then, but because you were so selfless. Because if you notice also, in I think I said it a week or so ago that woman, nursing is so abusive. The amount of abuse that we go through in nursing is through our generation be submissive mostly, because all they were taught to do was that illness must be, they say what, illness must be seen, not heard. I think they say something like that. That's the line that they used to try and abuse me. So at this point in my life, ngoku ndangena emsebenzini, and I was like, no man, I think I'm tired a bit. I'm tired of the politics. But I'm telling you now, I was explaining to a partner, she hates politics. There is no way of separating yourself from the politics as long as you are a living, breathing person, especially with Department of Health or we healthcare worker. You will always be fighting for something. It's either to advocate for your patient, it's either to advocate for your peers or for yourself, but there is always going to be politics. And there is a mistake of one. But when you are voicing out how a situation affects you, or it reflects on you as a profession, even you are being rude. That's how they plan. Yes, that's what they say even in churches. And when I was listening to this other guy, when a podcast, is decided about young people and their voices, how abantu young have always been seen rebellious. Even no Mandela in their days, when they were voicing their thoughts and ideas, because they are out of order. You understand? So my point is, I love Ama 2000. So I think a month or so ago, the colleague Enja, Edward Timiam, and the late 2000. Yo, yo. Ezinye situations, I think ikhona live beske ndajoyina kuyo ndisithi ndine-situations ezithile.
I remember.
She's managed to resolve half of them in 2 months. In 2 months, because she has a way of not, she has that fearless heart, you understand? So it's good, guys, because at the end of the day, patients zethu ziba in good hands because we are advocating for them. We can never separate, we can never divorce politics. Zihamba nathi. But I think also it goes with intent yakho. You understand?
True.
Because there's a difference between someone who's trying to resolve a situation for the better and someone who's trying to shine. Yeah, but I think that's where the blunder comes out, when you are trying to shine so much that you end up stepping on people's heads so that you can get to where you want to get to. You understand? So we are not just doing it because we love politics, but we are doing it because we hate into eshiyeka negeneration esemveni kwethu. And I think even when I was at college, I used to say all the time that I'm not a politician, and I was not trying to be apologetic. But I was trying to say that I have no interest that is beyond this. You understand? I'm not trying to build a career, because we had another a guy who used to call me comrade all the time, and I hated that thing. Well, it was not a comrade, but I realized that there were people that could not speak, and they could not argue facts like I can follow with them. And I had a gift of being able to take a policy and read it. By the next day, I understand it very clearly, and I can argue it very clearly. You understand? And other people do not have that gift. You understand? So a mistake is that one Tina Satan of shine sometimes, and it gives off a bad vibe and a bad name. Kuthiwe see dramatic, we are being rude. Whereas there are really people who are advocating and trying to do something that is just.
Sure. You guys have taught me so much, namhlanje. You guys have taught me so much. And I've always known, Ukba, like from my previous interaction with you guys, particularly the people that I requested to come on here, Nawe Lunga. You guys have taught me so much about politics. Because I think I've been shying away from being ridiculated when Alunga. You know, sometimes when you become vocal also, they will say, oh, she's trying or he's trying. I've heard this a lot. I saw it with that vets, the vets students who were protesting. And people were saying, people were saying, oh no, they're just trying to build their political careers, you know. I mean, these kids are fighting for valid reasons. But someone who's privileged, typing from their Santin mansion with their iPhone 14 Pro, they're saying, oh, they're just trying to build their political career. Because when you use your voice, you get ridiculated so much. I think it's one of the reasons I've personally always been making a disclaimer, and I feel guilty, Lunga, about the things that everyone has said today. Because most of the times, I always say, Mna, injustice can happen, but it will never happen to me. Mna, I've been using that mantra, and I think it's very selfish of me, particularly because of the things you just said now, that there are people who are unable to speak for themselves. There are people who are unable to argue facts, you know? And I've been gifted with the ability to speak for myself, the ability to stand up for myself, regardless of who is in the room. Mna komden moyika yo mna bensitsho ngenye imini ndisithi mna nepresident ndingayixelela mna ukuba ndim lo unyatheleweyo ndingaze ndimxelele uba unyathele sena. I don't think I like it and we need to resolve. But I think I've been very selfish because I was trying, Lunga, to shy away from people thinking that ndiyazifaka. I'm trying to build a political career for myself. I'm trying to make myself popular. So personally, I've been only standing up on issues that are affecting me. I would then stand and say, no, this is not going to happen because it affects me. But I affect her omnye umuntu bendiye ndiyeke laa nto ndiqomba andifuna uzifaka ibe ngathi ndizenza usomaqhuzu wento zonke. You know, I learned so much from what you guys are saying, and I am very grateful for this chat. I think I need to add Baninzi. Ndiyaqala umbona apha namhlanje. Then says I guys, but I'm so grateful, and I think personally I'm gonna go back and try and implement, and I will come to you, Gebethunana, for support and break her down.
But again, at the same time, I think I just want to add, we also shouldn't be naive as to think that when you are getting into such a mindset or in such a space, there will be no consequences. Because hey, some of us, as much as we were very active and popular, because it comes with the popularity. Yes, it does come with the popularity in of being active in politics, because people just know your name. Gee, abanye have never even interacted with you, but they know you. And Yengoku, I think nothing. It's so messed up that because uhlaliswa an extra year, upin an extra year, upin the module where you won, or even some of us even did 6 years. We understand you do a 6 year, 4 year course in there for 6 years, and you know very well it's not because you are not intelligent.
No.
It's not because you have no recall, but it's because of the person that you are. So a mistake that we might think that is that one you think Bawana,
Nothing
if
is
you
gonna
push
happen.
there will be no pushback. Science I said for every action there is a reaction.
Yeah.
That's how politics are, because abazabakhona amacango azawuvalwa, you understand. To apply somewhere and they just know about, oh, this is a troublemaker, because that's what you are labeled
They know
when you
your
are political.
surname.
I'm telling you. And we have this something that is happening now. They are trying to launch youth friendly zone,
Yes.
and it's in my clinic. So I'm pushing it, and so we had a meeting on Monday, and there was this other person, man, who was just being dramatic, and but she kept on using my surname. So today, I'm on Baga province, Bayafika, and they want a brief from me before we go into the field. So, okay, and she's calling me by my surname, Lomama, and she's repeating it. The person declared, hey, I think you should not be, you're not supposed to be knowing my surname by now. It's too early. The Shogoloma Baga province. Where was Bonangoba? Did you know? But I think it's better if you just know Imi Sebenziam than
Yeah.
my surname, because once you know my name, I
Yes.
know that trouble is coming.
Yay.
Most likely, you understand. So I think we should be vocal, yes, but we should also nasibope ikause, because we have to understand that there is going to be consequence.
Consequences.
That's the one thing for sure. And goes.
Yo, ndiyabulela. Yo, like ndiyabulela. Inhliziyo yam. Someone says, I know a lady who got 0 out of 100 in third year. Imagine, is that possible? 0 out of 100.
Yo,
Hey, guys.
yo.
Hey. Baninzi, hi.
Hayi zikunjani?
Ndiyaphila njani sisam?
Ndiyaphila sisi. Hey mandilibulele lithuba. I guess uThixo wenze inzame zoba nizofika apha namhlanje. Because I wanted to text you but kandithi live ndathi hayi maningene. Yeah, hey. Ubhuti wam has touched a lot of important factors, you know. And the unfortunate part, when you are young, voicing out your voice, then it becomes an issue. Mna ke ndingumntu omncinci osebenza nabantu abadala. I'm very, very young, you know. So abantu endandisebenza nabo, hey, bandiphatha kabuhlungu. I ended up hating the profession itself. Then bandichukumisa ngongandirholisi. That's when I showed them who I am.
Yay.
And what I'm capable of doing. I was called in a meeting. They said, you know, emakhaya ikhe inkomo kuthiwe izawuhlatywa ngo-1 ingahlatywa. So nalapha ke kwenzeke loo nto that first of all, I know you guys are managers. You were not elected or you are not volunteering on the position. You were appointed because you qualify for the position. Then you were appointed. You're not doing me any favor for being in that position. We are all here for patients. Fortunately for you guys are non-clinical now because you are managers. But now your management style is poor because you don't even have a background of managing. And as a person, you need to have a leadership skill in order to be a manager. I feel like OSD is only focusing on appointing people who are incompetent and they end up telling you about inkomo emsebenzini. There is no such. So the matter was resolved, I think within 48 hours, because I told them, please send me an email that says my money would be paid on this day so that I can submit it to my lawyers. Then I also want to know what are the correct channels to report your employer to labor, because now this is unethical and unprofessional. I had a bad name, but you know, God will always be with you. My work was just on another level. We had Ideal Clinic. I was nominated as the best candidate, and I was doing my community service at that time. So that one, you know, it made me feel like, at least God is on my side, regardless of the mindset that they have. And I left because it was not a healthy environment. Because when you are young, voicing out your voice and you realize that it doesn't go any further, why stay? Grow. Then, after growing, because I'm still going to go back there because it's home, but I want to go and manage some of them and show them how it's supposed to be done. Because we've got policies at work, we've got contracts, we've got SOPs. So you cannot speak with someone as if it's your house, my rules, my house. So I think the apartheid era also has a challenge with our managers. Can I refer man to a counseling, Please.
Sibasekwa ayikhasa.
Hayi bayamdinga. Ne-classification ka-DSM-5. Maybe it would help.
There was a young lady here, Baninza, I don't know if you were already here, Hunandi, and she said that we are being led by managers who are inhuman. They've separated the humanness in them. Uti must bebe striking the upper Gauteng as the R174. Uti when they handed over the memorandum to the managers were laughing at them. A parent is laughing to kids who are unemployed, hungry at home. These kids are here crying, saying, we're having issues, and we are saying, listen to our issues. And the parent laughs.
It's sad, and she's actually right when she says they are no longer human beings. But another thing that I've learned when I was working in the Eastern Cape is that they compare us with their kids at home.
Yes!
So it becomes a huge challenge now because they reflect and see a Z who's doing things, yet he or she was a child at home now who's on drugs or who's not progressing in life. So now you are a threat to her or him, So I think people must do one thing. When you get at work, leave your problems at the gate, then you'll pick them up when you go home.
Simple.
Because now it makes it difficult. I think there was one of my colleagues. I told her that as much as I am 24 years and your daughter is 26 years, you are not my mother here. You are my colleague and you will never wake up being my mother. I respect you as my mother's age group, but you will never be my mother. For now, we are colleagues, that's all. Then if we are speaking about personal life, then you can be my mother in that instance. But now we also need to be careful. With your colleagues, do not discuss your personal life. Those people are colleagues. Because now and you're like, man, you're supposed to be doing that. So there's quite a lot of challenges when we are young. But I think with the new generation in the nursing profession, if we can work together, we would achieve a lot. Because at least these people, it's almost 30 years now, they are in the profession. So they're going home soon. So it's our time to take over.
It's our time.
But we need to work on OSD, guys, because we're not all going to open practices. We're not all going to Saudi Arabia. Some of us still need to serve our community. And our community, unfortunately, they don't afford. But now, OSD will say a grade 1 professional nurse, it's 297. Then all allied medicine, which is all allied health, I meant to say, which is your physios, they earn way more than us. So I always ask myself, who came with that idea of OSD? Because that thing, it's just something else. It doesn't make sense. And it brings a question as well to me, that if you do management, which is it's currently health services management now, which position do you occupy with the degree? because you will do your postgraduate diploma, but if you don't have 7 years experience, you can't qualify to be an operational manager, unfortunately. So now, are we promoting to have managers who can't manage, but because they've got experience, then they must manage us?
And Banisi, I will have a question to say. I always ask to say, how do we define experience, right? Just because I'm in a position for 5 years doesn't mean I can do it better than you who came in 2 years ago. You can come in and have 2 years and actually do it better than I do it. Better than I do it, who have 5 years.
Exactly. And we also need to reflect that our curriculum, and there's also innovation now. Things change. So as someone who has been in the profession, I believe when someone young comes in, you must be happy that at least we will have more changes. Look at in 2020 or 2021, when they introduced EVDS, people were running away now because it's an electronic device now, and they are not familiar with it. So it shows that having someone young, it's actually good.
You know, you mentioned something that Abba Mama, they in the workplace, particularly if you speak about your personal issues with them, they start calling you Mtanam. When I was still in the clinicals, I once called a lady who thought Bandingumdana came to, and I quickly reminded her that, listen, here we are both professionals, and you might be a senior according to years, but we are both professional nurses. Our scope of practice is actually the same. So you are not going to treat me like you are treating your child. During lunch as a daughter, it's lunchtime. We are not professional nurses. It's fine. That I can take. But in the workplace, you are not gonna send patients to my consulting room and say, let me take bloods for you on the patients that you are supposed to be assisting on that day, because when I mdala amehlo wakho akasasebenzi kahle. Uba amehlo wakho akasasebenzi kahle, hambe you remove cataract or take early retirement. If you feel like your body is failing you to execute as tasks within scope of practice, take early retirement. That's not my baby. It is not my child.
Yeah.
Can I just add?
Yes, please.
You know, with what you just said now, Nessie, there is a beauty about nursing that even the most quietest of persons will develop a very strong character that is vocal within a space of 4 years. Like this other lady last year, was it last year? But we had a campaign. We had a campaign of feminism early this year in January. So I take about these ladies who are employed for COVID contracts to come and assist in my team. So she's so quiet, man. Hey, I Dimbukele working with patients, and you can see that she knows what she's doing. But I'm very concerned because she's so you can't even hear in the car when you are driving from one facility to the next. There's nothing. She's not commenting. She's not saying anything, but she will answer you when you speak to her. So I called her. I said, hey, do you understand what you are here for? She said, what do you mean? I know my work. Didn't know. I'm not asking about your work, but do you understand that you are a professional nurse? And if you are going to be quiet, there are people that are going to abuse you like nobody's business. And she smiled. She just smiled, man. She just smiled and said, I put it, don't worry. I thought to myself, maybe in the year overboard, you understand? Maybe it was not my place.
Yeah.
And then the other one who was working with us, who staff nurse were to, she comments and says to me, hey, you should not worry too much. This one can fight for herself. And there was an incident apparently at work where someone assumed that she's just a pushover until she pushed her. Yo. So my point is that nursing has turned some of us to be vocal because you realize, man, you are going to be abused here. Ubaninzi mentioned something about the Comserve. I had an incident with Comserve Because when I was doing ComServe, I had a sub district manager called for me 4 times, 4 different times for a ComServe, and I think 2 of those cases I won, and the other 2 I just lost because they were abusing lender by ageism. And I said to them,
intimidation, Lunga, being called 4 times.
I'm telling you,
community service, nurse.
you know, and you know, I loved Isai Kaito when I was in when I was at college, and so I assessed a room. The last argument that we had, I assessed a room. My manager was standing. The sub district manager also was standing, and they were talking and talking and talking. And I asked, maybe this is the time that I should stand also, ne? That's before I spoke. And what do you mean? What do you mean? No, because I see that you are very on this theme of intimidation, that you are standing and I'm sitting down.
Body language.
So should I stand or will you sit down? Hey, I think that was the end of the meeting. That was the end of the meeting. And I even said to them that, you know, that I was so abused when I was at college that I cannot tolerate it anymore. I cannot tolerate it anymore. I'm not into politics anymore. I'm not actively involved in politics. I don't think union denies for indemnity to be honest. But I cannot subject to myself to that thing. So innocent is that beautiful thing whereby is our change. It's either our change as the colleagues, or it's going to be the patient that makes you to be vocal. So even number 2000, there is no way that they will not come out. They are going to come out of their characters.
Those ones are coming guns blazing. They are coming guns blazing. And I think Tina millennials, as much as we are very, I think one thing I love about us millennials is that unlike like the other generation before us, we are able to say no, you're not gonna do that to me. I think it's brave, Tina. But these ones, the ones that are coming behind us, these ones are coming guns blazing. They don't care who you are. They will come for your head. They will come for your head. But guys, I am grateful that we have one another. I think I am grateful that we have one another because, Lunga, maybe some of you have decided to step back a bit because of exhaustion as well. I mean, having 2 managers standing when they are talking to you, basically they are talking like, guys, I can just imagine. And this was ComServe. But I'm grateful that we have one another. And we are conscientizing one another about each challenges esnazo and how to deal with them. Because sisezodibana nezinto, guys. Baninzi sisezodibana nezinto asikadibani nezigigaba zendaba. Sisezodibana nazo. We are very young. We are in our 20s, in our 30s, early 40s. We are still young. I feel like we are still going to see a lot of things, particularly because we are a daring generation. Like, we dare things, we question things, we're curious about things. We are still going to experience a lot of abuse and resistance. But the fact that we are aware of what lies ahead of us, it makes me so happy. And I think the 2 of you guys joined us a little bit late, but the initial question that I had posed here was, am I naive for believing we are the generation that's going to change things? And I love how each one of you that came to speak today, you are echoing our ability to change things. Guys, I'm so grateful. Baninzi, I'm so grateful of people like you. Guys, may we stay united. May we be there for one another. May we support one another, because this, I think above everything else, I am very much concerned about our mental health, because this can be very, very detrimental to our mental health. And I think Eugene once brought it in one of the lives we've had, that our mental health is very, very important. And we also need to speak about what such situations due to our mental health, Thank you, guys. I appreciate you so, so, so much.
Bendisandofunda somewhere umuntu esithi mana yazi if future is not a destination we arrive at.
Yeah.
If future is a step by step situation that you build, and at some point in your life you look down and realize I've taken so many steps. You were building it throughout time. Now I seriously have a problem when we are saying we will change them tomorrow. We will not. We will never reach tomorrow because tomorrow will be today.
Sure.
And then the next will be today again. You understand?
Yeah,
So we are changing by the small discussions that we are having here. Do you know how many people that have referred to your lives and your TikTok? I mean, because you have opened my mind so much, and it's part of the future that we are building. You understand? It's not going to we're not going to arrive at it tomorrow. It's not happening. It's today. It's with the simple arguments, esbanas or with managers, and then by the time then the next intake comes, that habit is gone from your workplace. And problem, I think it goes back to Lanomana. We are not supposed to be selfish when we want to achieve great things. Great things are not they in fact they are not achieved by selfish people. You will always fail. You will lose. And when you lose, you don't count it loss. You understand? You don't count it loss because you know that at the end of the day, something is going to come out. At the end of the day, those managers are not sleeping. They are thinking about you. Because consciously about they know that they are wrong with some of the things that they are doing, but because they are used to doing it, they are used to doing it. On Monday, on the same meeting that I was talking about on Monday, we were from the field, so we came in late, and there were some people from the district and Abanoa province for a briefing. And initially, we were not supposed to be part of it because we gave them our plan and we were implementing already. So we get into this. There's this mama that likes to shout. Hey, so we get in, and guys, I'm a man. I am a man. Yeah, understand? And I feel like there are certain things that I cannot tolerate. So we get in. There are chairs. They are sitting in a C-shaped form of Lenduk situation, and there are chairs behind other people. So we don't want to make noise. We just pull a chair. We just sit down, and then she goes, "Mama, hi, kutheni nizawuhlala emvani kwabantu? Kutheni ninezimanga nje?" We just got into a meeting. You understand? And ke ngoku umna nabantu baka-province usuka e-district yena ke. So I read the situation. I'm not a reactory person. I don't like reacting. I want to respond so that I can respond to you thoroughly. The jungle situation, I find my managers, they are keeping quiet, and she's demanding this, demanding that, demanding this, demanding that. Oh, I read, oh, so they are used to this abuse.
Yay!
I'm not going to speak out. I am not going to speak out. This is not my time. That's what I said to myself. This is not my time. Let me keep quiet. Hey, I was running around. I think that's how Lomama today was able to recall my name because Bekubizwa my name all the time. So what I'm trying to say is that we should also try and divorce emotion when we are addressing issues, and we want them to be fixed, because uzaiputa, and you will miss a lot because you are being emotional and you are being reactive. Yeah, you are reacting to the situation. It's always best to respond so that you don't miss the points. Because when I slept and I came back the next day, I was able to fix a lot of things without Iena, but with the other colleagues that were there, and they were not doing, okay, they were not coming to the table because we also had other professionals that were supposed to come to the table. So we really should be open-minded when we are doing these things, because at the end of the day, you want to fix, you don't want to mess up or to make the situation worse. Because once you react, you will mess it up.
Lunga, you mentioning what we also mentioned that does not so fikile, but we're speaking about emotional intelligence. How do we handle such situations? Because that is actually emotional intelligence. Judging to say, is this worth me responding now? Is this worth me engaging now? Oh guys, I'm so grateful for Nina. I'm so grateful for Nina because I feel like you guys are equipping me to be able to go out there and handle situations in a manner that is not going to make the situation worse, like you've been saying, Lunga. It's not going to aggravate the situation, but it's going to bring change. I was saying about I'm scared of politics because I always feel like I'm too emotional, and then sometimes ndiyendoyike ukuba umuntu xa ke senza into ethile mhlawumbi will jump in and only make it worse and even make the environment unbearable for me. Like we've been saying, you will become a victim, my dear. Victimizer, they will be on your neck, using their power to stop you. And what you just shared with us is emotional intelligence. Bearing in mind what Baninzi said, when an environment, and he's echoing words that I said earlier on, I don't know if he was here, that when an environment is making you a prisoner, if they are now holding you captive, now when an environment makes me feel like, okay, now I'm held captive, I'm held against the wall, and I exit. I exit. I think we learned that again here today to say you need to be able also with your emotional intelligence, you need to know when you no longer have room to move, when now they are literally coming. You know, at times they come for your jugular vein, guys. They want to take you out. I know a guy who was in SRC at where I was studying. That guy never became a registered nurse. He was the president because of how vocal he was. He never became a registered nurse, guys. Waphuma lamfana bamkhupha, they made sure bayamkhupha. He's an EN now, but he fought for a lot of us. Lunga was one of the people who were in the 2012 group, and we were fighting for them to stop the bursary system because the bursary system was very unfair on us, and they were eating a lot of our money in the bursary system. The MEC came and said, Nina sinichole nigcakamele ilanga njenge, what is it called? NgesiXhosa ndiyazi amacelikishana. The MEC came and called us that. Wathi nina niyageza nina. Niyalibala uba sinichole komakwenu. And we are bursary students, we are being paid and the department is paying for our fees. Wathi nina niyalibala uba sinichole komakwenu nigcakamele ilanga njengamacelikishana. Sure. What now my child is at UCT. UCT. They said that to us. Okay, so we've been we've
Yeah,
been
I think it's very sad. Yazi, if I could count on one hand how many people were chucked out of nursing because of them being active in politics, some of them, abanye because they did not use their voice, or they did not have a voice.
they did not.
And they did not have a voice. And Yangoku, when you are trying to mediate situations as little, even you are trying so much to be forward. And there are people that do not like it, toy.
Yeah.
And I had a gift of studying it from zero. Within 24 hours. And I knew who to go to study toy. There's always up to nothing. And who are very academic, especially people about smart. They will be like, so point them not, you are going to lose friends. You will not have a backup. I think Ubaninzi touched on this. I even said to a colleague, if you are going to be vocal, you must know that you cover your back and you know your work. Yeah. Just that they can check you out because they see that you are problematic. And that's how they operate, that's how they will always be. And I think mna ke ndingumntu wenkonzo. I think bendikhe ndakotha ivesi apho bana that says do not let them look down on you just because you are young.
True.
And I think even God himself is for a revolution. There is always a revolution in the way people function. And I think a revolution yethu iqale ngo-2012 because ufika kwami kwenye ikliniki ngoku endisebenza nazo kukho omnye usister phaa. I remember her face but andimazi yena by name. She was like, yo Mkebuza, you are here. Yo. But Alfred will not be the same. I'm like, Aibo, mother, I'm not there anymore. She said, and she's trying to explain to your colleague, yeah, they were the troublemakers of 2012. Don't. And we were just fighting to be in the same situation as them. You understand? So I think Abantu have this perception that you are trying to be popular, you want to overpower people, you want people's seats, and it's not even about that. But you see that this situation is bad, and if you let it go on, it's going to come to you also. Because I think that's how I view it now. Because if it's happening to Ubaninzi, and I keep quiet, and I know that I can defend him without going through too much work, and I choose to keep quiet, what's going to happen then? We understand. So nam guys, I really appreciate this because at the end of the day, we are here because nathi singabantwana babantu. We understand. Singabantwana babantu, we are also building careers so that we can feed our families. And imistake ke ngoku ye managers zethu okanye is that I'm thinking of something else now. Do you remember when you were growing up and there were things that you hated about your mother? About your parents that they would do as parents, and you realize now as a parent yourself that haibo, and I really feel that in us being professionals and managers, may we not turn into our own parent managers and do the same things to other children. Lano nandithetha this other time ndisithi ubana when you get to a facility nizi-students bengathi nizophungula kwi-salaries zabanye abantu. You understand? That's how we react when people are coming into our facilities to come and work. It's as if they are going to halve our salaries.
Yeah.
Which is bad. So we should really take out the bad things that they were doing. And
we should be conscious.
Yes, and we are not saying that they were all bad, that generation that was before us.
Yeah.
But there were definitely things that really need that left us scarred. Sinez you understand?
We are Lunga, I love what you are saying, that we need to we need to evaluate ourselves as the current generation. As we are working towards occupying these positions of power, please constantly sit alone by yourself and ask yourself, I spoke a quick staff meeting. Who did I offend? What did I say? What were the people saying? The other thing that I love doing is going back to the people that I work with and say, what do you think about what I said? What is your take? How did you feel? How did you receive my management? Like, because we are not seeing things from the same perspective. It's self-introspection and evaluation, very important. And I think we, as the now soon-to-be leaders in power, guys, we need to constantly practice that. It should be a ritual for us. So, every now and then I need to sit down with myself and ask myself, and I need to go to the people that I'm managing and ask, and be able to take a response, criticism as a manager, be able to stomach it. Because one of the reasons our managers are the way they are, it's because they don't want to be criticized. You criticize them, they want to show you now who has power, and it can't be. It can't be like that. I am grateful for you guys, Baninzi. I am very grateful for you guys. I'm grateful that you guys are coming out to share your experiences, how you've handled situations, because some of us were scared to come into spaces like the spaces that you guys have been in. Particularly because of the effects that we see happening to you guys. But the fact that you guys are coming out and telling us how you handled this situation or how you handle them, I think it gives us courage as well to say, because Ulunga says if it happened to Ubanins, it means one day it's gonna come back to it's gonna come and happen to me. I think you guys have empowered us to best know how to handle these situations if they ever come in our direction. And also you are giving us the courage to say, if we see it happening to the person next to you, do something about it, say something about it, don't just be quiet. Dianbulela so much, guys. Eugene, I think he went to sleep now, but Eugene said not every live that we hold here needs a guest speaker. These lives where we actually bring up a topic and speak about matters are very important, and I think we need to hold them consistently, particularly because we are in different places, we don't work together. At times you might feel like you are alone, you are the only one who's experiencing these things, but if we gather, Eugene is still here. Eugene actually, I think he's more into these lives because he has spoken about us speaking about mental health here, to what the profession does to our mental health as individuals. And I think this space helps us to know that you are not the only one. Awukho wedwa and unamaqabane ongabuyela kubo uthi, guys, this is the situation I'm facing. How am I going to go through this? I am so grateful. I think you guys know how much I love you. And Dianbulela for taking your time. 2 hours, 30 minutes, almost 3 hours. Niseni benje, oba kukuyi ulunga no Eugene, vendiyazi basawulala ngo-12. Namhlanje ngicela singalali ngo-12 ke. It's 11:45 now. We started at 8 o'clock. Maslaleni. I will see you guys Friday. Diabulela kakhulu baninzi. I hope you're gonna be popular here. You're gonna be a board member and always be on the speaking panel.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely try. Then better and seven's a night shift and I'm in private sector now. So sometimes in some in and figure. But I can always make time.
Which province are you in now?
Currently in Mpumalanga.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Nilaleni kamnandi bethuna napapaini and have a lovely day. Kusasa emsebenzini.
Thank you very much. Now is